Yeah, my uncle used to call me log legs.
I love that.
And then, sure enough, like 2 years later, I was throwing up after every meal.
I wonder.
That's not connected at all.
Log legs. That's the most intense thing ever.
Well, it's like if I look at my legs, they're very log shaped. I'm not gonna lie.
Logular.
Like
They're very logular.
I have very logular legs.
Logular.
Log-esque. Welcome to another edition of the Naughty Podcast. My name is Elle Harlow, and with me as always is sweet baby Tiana.
I'm also here.
Today we're going to talk about fat phobia in retail.
Okay, so what is the biggest sign that someone is fat phobic?
Like right off the bat?
Yeah.
Concern trolling.
Huh?
Oh, but it's about your health.
Oh, Jesus Christ. They don't give a flying fuck.
No, if they gave a shit about my health, they would, question me about my drinking habits as opposed to my eating habits.
Fair. But even, it doesn't matter. They don't know you personally, so why do you need to know, how healthy you are? Also, someone's size and someone's weight doesn't equal to how healthy they are.
Yeah, there may be a correlation, but there is not a causation there. Mm-hmm. Myself personally, not that it's anyone's business, but I was just at my doctor. My cholesterol's fine, my sugars are fine, my blood pressure's fine. All of my things are fine. Mm-hmm. I may not, be able to run a marathon tomorrow, but if you need me to pick up a couch single-handedly, I can do it.
Yeah, I feel that for sure. I've always been over 200 pounds my whole life, and not I was skinny when I was younger. When I got my new birth control, I gained a lot of weight. Well, when I was younger, I was considerably skinny, but I still was over 200 pounds. Mm-hmm. But it's just because naturally, my dad is a unit. He is intimidatingly large, but not fat. He's muscly and he has big bones, and even he now he's even weighs less than me, but he's still large. So it just runs in my family to be naturally heavy,
Right. It's the same. There's not many slight people in my family. We're all, we're all built for hard labor. Mm-hmm. Not a single one of us is long and lean.
Yeah.
We're all pretty wide and short to the ground.
Yeah, that's fair. Built for labor.
Built
it's a
for
workhorse.
Labor. Yeah. We come from good, strong Irish workhorse stock.
That's fair. I think that's my Ukrainian side of me too. I always make a joke. I'm like, oh, it's my Ukrainian bones. Yeah. My Ukrainian hips.
We're just built for labor.
We're for labor. We're built to birth 10 children and hold them all at once. It's, that's the vibe essentially.
The only time I've ever been skinny is when I had a pretty raging eating disorder. So
oh, and those are brutal. It sneaks up on people, and this is totally off topic, and I know we'll probably cover this in the future, but people that have, there's a lot of gym culture out there, and there's a lot of gym bros that are out there that are talking about how they eat strictly unseasoned chicken and a pound of rice every day, all day. That's it.
If that's not disordered eating, I don't know what it is.
Dude, that's like eating disorder Tumblr all over again. I'm telling you, it's brutal.
Into eating disorder Tumblr. I feel like I was a little too old to catch the Tumblr wave. Mm. I came into it right as it was ending.
Yeah. I was never on eating disorder Tumblr. But then again, I was lucky to never suffer from an eating disorder because my dad was always very body positive. So. Yeah.
Not in my family.
Oh boy.
My mom still asks me if I'm going to lose weight. I'm like, well, you lost a bunch of weight and you had to get a, stomach stapling to do it.
That's
so maybe,
too.
Maybe.
Yeah.
This is just how I'm built.
Yeah, exactly. She had to go physically alter the way that she looked to lose weight. A lot of people realize that, or don't realize that in social media and stuff, people have, the shape of body that they do, and not judging them for any sense, but people are like, well, why can't you look like that? Well, I don't have $20,000.
There was this really good comedic bit done, oh my God, 15 years ago by this comedian. Her name is Joy Nash. Mm. And it was what is the key to being skinny? It was first, have 2 skinny parents, and then have 4 skinny grandparents. Mm-hmm. Because it is so much into your genetics. Yeah. If you line up everyone in my family, we're all shaped slightly different. Yeah. But not one of us is thin.
Yeah, but people don't realize that your DNA makes up how you look. Sure, whatever, if you, make really terrible decisions, whether not eating or eating too much, sure, that can alter it. But for the baseline of how you look, that is just comes with your genetics. Some people are just essentially born to be the size that they are, it just happens.
My kneecaps even when I'm skinny, or like the size of hubcaps. Like when people talk about being big boned, I'm like, hey.
Yeah, and that's a thing. Like people think it's like it's an excuse, but no, it's a thing. People's bone sizes.
I wear a size 10 ring.
Yeah, fair.
Like I have massive hands. When I got married, my husband and I was the same size wedding band. But hey, yeah. I remember like I had somehow figured out like what ring, like we had like a costume ring. I was like, oh, I know he can wear this and it fits him. And that's what I took to have like the ring mate, because I didn't have a sizer. Yeah. And then I would like had it in my pocket and I was like, yeah, look how big his finger is. And I went to put it on and I was like, oh, it's too small.
Oh no, not too small.
So like
stuck on you now.
Yeah. I'm like, thank God it's plastic.
Oh, there you go. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's so true. But yeah, for me, like the biggest sign that someone is fat phobic, there's a couple things. We talked about this before, but on that, I keep hitting this thing. On that, dating game where you're blindfolded, or even I feel like, I don't know, I could be delusional, but I watched like some of the Love is Blind and some people were asking how active people were. But like even like the blindfolded thing, someone would be like hugging each person that they met to see what their body size was. Yeah. It's just, or even we'll get comments on our videos.
Oh my God. Immediately. Like if a man watches this video and doesn't like what we have to say, immediately first comment is, well, if she weighs more than 200 pounds, it's a red flag.
That's what I was going to say.
And I'm like, if you can't get past the cheeks, just say so, honey. It's okay.
That is huge. They have to be at least like a good size. There's like I think like Nicki Minaj wrote a line like that or something. It's like they have to be a good size to fit past the cheeks before they can make it in.
And like, I've always had a big butt, and it was, in the 90s and in the 2000s when I couldn't, I was literally like 106 pounds, and I would still have to size up like 4 sizes to get them up over my thighs and my hips, because I was not built like this. Yeah. I wasn't straight up and down. Yeah. And then it seemed like for a hot minute, like us big girls were getting like a time to shine, like when Selma Hayek like hit the scene, and suddenly like everyone was standing with their booty at the camera, and everyone's suddenly doing lunges, and there was like hope for like a split second.
That's true. I mean, I feel like there's still a community out there, like a large one, that really enjoys a fat ass. Around my, like, all that I see is, admiration for it. But I feel like, in back to like your pants point, they take a size that's small, that fits smaller people, and then they just size up everywhere. Instead of considering that maybe some people have a smaller waist, but a larger thigh and hip ratio. It's just, I feel like the sizing for pants, and really doesn't matter what size you are, you could probably agree with this, jeans are insane to fit you, whether you have like a larger top and a smaller bottom, and a smaller top and a larger bottom. Like the amount of places that you could get things tailored, but you can't find jeans that have like a certain shape to them. There's more now.
There's more now. Still. For sure. But like, even like I sew, and I have done a drafting of patterns to make stuff. I was actually just saying, like, I love this t-shirt because I actually have a pattern to make basically this t-shirt, and I wear it, like I make 9,000 of them, and now we don't have to, and I'm really excited. But even when you're learning how to, like, so you draft a pattern that's like the sample size, and they're literally just taught, like, oh, as the size goes up, and this is in women's clothes, it's a little different for men's. As the size goes up, it's like you just add 2 inches. Yeah. It's basically 2 inches to the width and an inch to the length. To the length of the rise. So from like crotch to waistline. For men, it goes like 2 inches out, and then they add 2 inches to the length. So it's like, even if I'm like a big girl, I'm like, I want to wear men's pants. It's like, I better also be 7 feet tall. Yeah,
that's fair. Yeah, or like Oracle, where it's like up to like your breast line, essentially.
When I did electrical school, all of our like coveralls that the school provided for us were men's, and I had to go up several sizes because, again, shaped the way that I am, because I'm not straight up and down. I'm very bottom heavy. I had to go up several sizes just to get them up over my hips and be able to then move my legs and not be like the Tin Man.
Yeah.
they were so long, and these specific coveralls had like padding built into them, so like knee pads built in.
Oh, so the knee pads were like a completely different size.
Yeah, so like by the time I got them on, the knee pads were sitting like mid shin.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
And then women's coveralls
Yeah.
don't go up beyond like a size 14.
Yeah.
And I was like, geez, I literally can't win. I'm just gonna go naked.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be there in my tool belt and my like my hard hat and my steel toe shoes and my knickers. That's it. That's all you get.
That's it. There's no protection to any of the
elements.
Yeah. That's it. It was a birthday suit. You're like, this is what you caused me to do, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, every time someone says like, oh, you know, just because you're a size whatever doesn't mean you should shop in every store. I'm like, that just sounds like you want to see everyone above that size naked. Not to kink shame, sir, but
That's fair. That's fair.
What brands do you think are fat phobic?
My gut response is Torrid, only because of how terrible the designs are across the board. Like,
oh my god.
You can't buy a pair of leggings that don't have like mesh on them somewhere. You can't buy a shirt that doesn't have Mickey Mouse on it.
Or like
somewhere.
skulls and roses.
Skulls and fucking roses.
And okay, so part of me gets it because Torrid is a sister company to Hot Topic.
Yeah.
So it's basically for Torrid or Hot Topic's like, you know, curvy older sister.
But I agree, but not really. You know what I mean? Like Hot Topic has like beautiful designs, well, kind of, but like, you know.
But that's the like. So have you worked like fashion and like clothing retail?
Oh, have I ever?
Okay, so you know like when you go in and you're like doing training, they're like, this is Jasmine. She's our like our ideal customer.
Mm-hmm.
So like Hot Topic has it, and it's like, this is Jasmine. She's 15. She babysits, and she really likes My Chemical Romance. I'm old. Leave me alone. And Torrid is like, this is Melanie, Jasmine's sister, who's 16 and is plus size. But they have all the same likes and interests. So like they've really failed their customer base. And I'm probably gonna get canceled for this by Torrid. I feel like the only reason why Torrid is as popular as it is because for the longest time it was the only option.
Oh, 100%. I remember the huge hype that, at least in Oshawa, the Oshawa Center, when they had Torrid, everyone was like, oh my god. Even I was like that, because I bought a pair of leggings that didn't fall down because the shape went up like this. Yeah. And the top was smaller than the thighs and the hips and stuff, so it didn't fall down. I was like, oh, this is great. I love this store. But then when you go for literally anything other than leggings with mesh, then that's it. Like, it's kind of, I would have loved if it was essentially Hot Topic, but just larger sizes, because there's a lot of stuff in Hot Topic that I like. I mean, I'm an emo kid. I used to be, and I still am. So a lot of the Hot Topic stuff, like I would wear. Like if I saw like a Hello Kitty and like My Melody corner at, you know, Torrid, I would lose my mind. But they don't have that stuff.
No.
It's, you know, it's all
Disney adult stuff.
Yeah. I hate Disney adult.
Same.
I love Disney.
Like I am a Disney adult, but I'm not that.
You're not like have a pair of ears for every occasion.
No, and like the closest I have to Disney tattoos are like Star Wars tattoos.
Yeah, that's only because they just recently bought Star Wars.
Exactly.
I didn't even consider them, you know, Disney.
But for myself, like the first store that comes to mind that's like so fat phobic is Aritzia. I have a friend of mine, and she's not a big girl, and like even when she was like bigger, she was still like, I don't know, like a size 12, and like the only thing she could wear in that store were like scarves and socks.
That's good.
It's like, ma'am, don't give them your
hats
money.
and gloves.
If they don't want to clothe you, why are you giving them your money?
That's for sure. Yeah, that's fair. I can understand that. I bought stuff from Aritzia. I got their like onesie, but even then, like, well, I'm used to being an extra large, but those things stretch, so that's why that's okay. But I can understand like shopping for other things, especially being like even larger, you know, than I am. It'd be difficult there. There's a couple places that are like that. Minnesota, I feel like, is also similar, but I don't really shop one. It's I don't know whether it's Korean or Japanese. I think it's Korean. It's a Korean-based clothing store, so that's probably why they have different sizes there. And also I heard that Lululemon's bad too.
Lululemon, like that's one of the OG bad ones. I'm gonna screw up his name, but it's the most like douchebag sounding name ever. I think the OG like dude from Lululemon was Chip Wilson.
I love that.
And he like, because there was a big kerfuffle I don't know, 10-15 years ago about Lululemon had an issue with their leggings pilling. And he went on like national television and was like, it's not the product. Maybe it's the body the product's on.
Dude, stop.
And he basically was like, if your thighs rub together too much, then it's going to pill. Like, what do you want us to do? I'm like, maybe make a better product.
Their leggings are like $120, and they're like, yeah, it's your fault that the fabric's spilling. Like, bitch, I have like airy leggings that I've owned for like 2 years, and they do not pill whatsoever. Yeah. And my thighs never leave each other, so it's like,
my thighs are in a very committed relationship.
Oh yeah, it's not love hate. It's love at this point. But yeah, that's true. My aunt actually used to be a Lululemon ambassador, but that's because she is shaped like a stick, and she is a yoga teacher, and she also developed an eating disorder because her dad used to make fun of her thunder thighs. So it's like all of that really adds up.
Yeah, my uncle used to call me log legs.
I love that.
And then, sure enough, like 2 years later, I was throwing up after every meal.
I wonder.
That's not connected at all.
Log legs. That's the most intense thing ever.
Well, it's like if I look at my legs, they're very log shaped. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Logular. And very logular.
I have very logular legs.
Logular.
Log-esque,
if you will.
But my legs are very thick, and like from thigh to ankle. Like there's a taper, but they're hefty.
Yeah, it's not like you're a Lego person.
No, I don't have long, lean legs. I have very short, logular legs.
Arguably, long, lean legs are also logular because there's slim logs out there. And if they have less of a shape, so it's like they're more a tube. They're tubular.
Tubular versus logular. You heard it here first, folks.
What are you on the spectrum of leg? Are you logular or are you tubular?
Or logular?
And then there's spaghetti, and then that's just bad.
That's what I refer to as Wednesday legs.
Wednesday legs?
Yeah, Wednesday gonna break.
Oh my god. Wednesday gonna break. Jesus Christ. That's one thing that I cannot do. I will not, my body cannot break at this point.
I mean, I've broken a few things. But not like none of them, like the big bones I haven't broken. Yeah. Just like weak things like ankles.
Fair. That's fair. I love that. Weak things like ankles.
Like ankles.
I've never broken anything. I'm gonna leave this studio and break something, but not gonna do it. But yeah.
I remember so like I'm not from Toronto, and I'm from a series of like shit towns. And when I first moved here, a friend took me to Zara, and I was maybe like a size 12 at the time. My mom had me on another crash diet, so I had like dropped, like a dress size. And I remember going in and I was very excited because the clothes were very chic, and I was working at a very fancy like salon, and I wanted to have a very chic wardrobe. And I remember going up to the sales girl and I was like, hey yo, I was like, do you have this in like a 12? And she's like, we only carry up to an 8. I was like, oh, get fucked.
Okay.
I was like, so I've been starving myself for the last like 14 weeks.
You're like, not enough.
Shop here.
Not enough, apparently.
Not enough.
Brutal. I hate that. Isn't there like a scene in a movie that's like that where they're shopping?
Mean Girls.
Is it? Okay.
1, 3, and 5.
Yeah. 1, 3, and 5, baby. It's in your life. Zara. Every time I think of Zara, I just think of sequin tops and like boots with a little too much fur on them, and really plasticky leather jackets.
I haven't been in to a Zara since that moment.
You're not missing much.
Which was in 2002. No, 2003.
Okay.
Yeah. So I haven't been in one in 20 years.
Yeah.
Because I was like, well, they don't want me there, so.
No one else has either, so don't worry. You're not missing much. The Zara at my mall is always empty. I think it's a front because they have the biggest part of the mall and it's always empty all the time. There's no one there. But yeah, I look in and I'm like, what's in there? And there's like ankle boots that are like somehow shimmery, but also not. And then they have just like weird, they're like models up at the front. Like, there's like little like.
The mannequins?
Yeah. They all have like the long lash appliques. Have you seen those?
No, I also like don't go to malls very often.
Fair.
I do like 90% of my shopping like online, and then 10% of it is like thrifted for Facebook groups that I'm in.
So you missed the lash applique.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember like the last time. Oh, and sometimes I will mess up and I will like order jeans or something online, and I think that I've shipped them to my house, and then I get the email like your order's ready for pickup, and I'm like, I have to go in public.
True, but also out here it's probably more difficult to get to a mall. Like you have to like. This place is hell to do anything in.
I mean, I'm transit trash, so like.
But even then,
all the malls are like on transit lines, so it's like coming from work. It's like 3 stops, and I'm at like Eaton Center, or going like if I'm going home, it's like 3 stops from home. I can hop off, go to the mall, come back on.
But going to Eaton Center isn't just like I'm just stopping at the Eaton Center. It's like 3 floors, and like
I've like learned so like because. I do this often enough because I can shop late at night without my glasses on.
I love that.
It looks me on my phone without my glasses, and inevitably it will send something for store pickup. I know where the stores are. I know which stop to get off because it straddles 2 stops. I can like in and out in 7 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Like even if I need to go to like Sephora, I'm like I will go to the Sephora at Bay and Bloor because it's freestanding and I don't have to deal with mall.
Fair, yeah. Because the Eaton Center, you have to block off like a whole day for me. I never go there. Like my mall is the shape of an O, and you can just make your way around in like 5 minutes, depending on how fast you walk. Maybe 10 minutes. It's great. I don't have to worry about it. It's a small town, so that makes sense.
I mean, I feel like Oshawa's not that small.
It's not. It was, but now it's not.
Because all the city slickers moved in during COVID.
Fuck ass city slickers. I hate them. Anyways.
I'm a fuck ass city slicker.
I'm just Oshawa trash. I was south of the border, born and raised. So in Oshawa, there's a train track that separates.
Were you literally born on the wrong side of the track?
Yeah, I was.
Me too.
I was born and raised on the wrong side of the tracks, and then we got out, and then I went back.
I mean, it happened. Have you ever not been taken seriously because of your size?
I think it depends on the intensity of what you mean by that, because like online there's a lot of trolls that like will say like random things, like specifically on our podcast. I haven't had it directly to like my Instagram pages or TikToks or anything like that, but on our page for some reason seems to gather a lot of the.
Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's every time we say something that someone could take personal, they like immediately shoot back with, but you're fat.
But you're over 200 pounds and it's a red flag. It's like, okay.
So is your hairline, boy.
I watched this video once and it was like if people that don't like fat people acted like people that don't like strawberry ice cream, it's like, okay, what kind of ice cream do you want? It's like, I don't know, but I fuck strawberry. And he's like, okay, yeah, you don't have to get strawberry. We've got chocolate, we've got matcha, we've got this. Yeah, but strawberry is so disgusting and I will never eat strawberry ice cream. I don't understand anyone that eats strawberry ice cream. Is like, okay, there's other options out there. What's going on here? So, but yeah, to answer your question, like, I don't necessarily deal with a lot of it in real life and in person. Also with like our own podcast. So I feel lucky at least in regards to that. Maybe they're a little too scared to say it to my face. I don't know, but I've never gone through.
I mean, you do have like, you know, like fuck around and find out energy. So
it's the Aries in me. I think people just don't want to find out.
Yeah, they're like, you know, they could, but I like my teeth in my mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Eyeballs and eyeballs. I'm bad. But anyways.
Oh, no, I was a boxer for years.
I'm Krav Maga, so I'll either choke someone out or go for the eyeballs. Yeah. There's 2 options.
Yeah, no, I will 100% feed you your teeth. That's fine. Myself, the one that sticks out like the most to me, and it's like clearly it's stuck with me for 20 years now. I went for a job interview, and everyone at this salon, they all looked like just like they walked off of like a runway somewhere. They were all very tall, very lithe, very slender. They all had like long swishy hair. I had like an undercut, and I'm, you know, short and wide. And I went and I did a trial at this salon, and I was doing clients, and the manager was like, your work is so good. Like, you've only been in the industry like 4 years. How are you this good? Da, 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 da. Like, I was getting all of this praise from the manager. And then the owner was like, okay, well, let's like go chat in the back room. And I was like, okay, great. And I remember what I was wearing, and no one's allowed to judge me because it was 2003. I had like a floor length denim skirt, and it was very like mermaidy, like it was very form fitted.
It's not bad. I like that.
I just feel like now it's back in style. But if we'd had this conversation a year ago, like everyone would have been like, what the heck are you wearing?
I don't keep up with that shit, so.
And it was, yeah, so I had this like mermaid denim skirt and like a tank top and like a rope belt, because that was like a thing in the early
rope
aughts.
belt, yeah.
And so he was like, yeah, I just don't think that your skills are up to par because you're so new in the industry. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, that's fair. And he's like, but and he like gives me like the elevator. And he's like, you could really take those assets and put them to work at like, and your club name down the road. I don't want to like give anybody any free promo. But basically he was telling me that I should go be a stripper because I would make more money than I would in hair.
Dude. I mean, yeah, but you don't have to say that.
But like the way he said it was like so gross. And I was just like,
I hate that.
So I was like, okay, yep, no problem. And I like turned around and I started like putting my gear like in my kit bag. And there was a mirror on the wall and I just saw him doing this.
What the fuck? In real person?
Yeah,
like,
he was just like, oh my God.
Ew.
And I was just like, I turned around and looked at him and I was like, why are your hands near my ass right now?
That's embarrassing.
Like you're in your 50s. I'm like in my 20s.
That's
I'm
embarrassing.
23. Like,
yeah. Well, I mean, older men like younger women. It's actually a statistic thing. But anyways,
I think it's a maturity level thing.
They did a chart. They asked, I don't know how many men, but there's a chart where they asked women what age they find attractive. And then they asked men what age they find attractive. For women, it went with their age. For men, their age went there, and the people they found attractive were all the same between 18 to 25.
It's like that scene from Dazed and Confused. You've seen Dazed and Confused, right?
No.
The thing I like about high school girls is I get older and they all stay the same age.
Oh, I've heard that quote.
Yeah.
This is my Roman Empire. I swear to God. Like, I stay on this shit all the time. I think it's disgusting. So that just grosses me out.
As someone who does date younger, I don't date that young.
But that's the thing. I think that's a difference. You date after their frontal lobes have like
27 is like the absolute youngest I'm willing to entertain.
Yeah.
I will admit that like I got my head turned once by someone who was like 19, and then like 5 minutes into the interaction, I was like,
you're like, oh, yeah, no. Yeah, have fun with that.
I'm tapping out now. Please leave.
Anyone younger, or really anyone around my age, just kind of generally, men, I should say, are terrible.
Do you think brands that only cater to one size are fat phobic?
I have kind of a controversial opinion on this. And it's probably just because I need to maybe do more research and educate myself a little bit better on this, and that I can agree to. But I truly am on the state of no, I don't necessarily think that the intent is to be fat phobic. However, having more sizes would be great. I think that, moving towards having larger sizes would be more inclusive, 100%. But for the longest time, I still kind of, even as like a larger girl, I would go to places that tailored to my size, It's like saying like, this is going to sound terrible, but it's like saying, is Torrid thin phobic? You know what I mean? It's like they're just tailored for specific
Even Torrid carries straight sizes.
Now they do, but when they first came out, they didn't have a lot of smaller sizes. Their size 0 was a size extra large in other pants and stuff.
Well, now they go down to a 00, which is a size 10.
Interesting, because I wore a size 00, but I was an extra large or double extra large.
No, so because now
unless they adjusted it now.
It could be. I'm in a group on Facebook that's like curvy gals, and like we trade our clothes and stuff. And there's a gal that works in Torrid, and she said their 00 is a size 10.
That's fair, but that's still like it's not necessarily a size 0, right?
Yeah.
So. But then again, like, I agree that I think I should do some more education, and I'm not saying that, places shouldn't be more open. I understand some places might just tailor. It's like, It's like there's a big and tall store, and then there's petite store, right? Some brands will have same things as other brands do. Like even with like the Aritzia thing, it does suck that they don't go up to larger sizes. But they sell the same goddamn thing as a lot of other stores, and be honest with you.
You're not
at the same price. Aritzia and Fashion Nova are very similar prices.
Oh, for real? I've never been in an Aritzia.
And Aritzia, like I bought my Y1 piece for, it was I think just over $100 with tax. I know it was a lot of money. But Fashion Nova, which is more curvy, right? Yeah. Maybe still tailored to thinner curvy women. I will for sure that. Yeah. But they're on the same price. But that's just my experience with it, right? I think that it's not inherently intended to be fat phobic. Would it be great if they had larger sizes? Sure, I will agree to that.
So for me, and this is like maybe I'm just a little more bitter because I'm older. What it is, the brands that are size inclusive are often considered like status brands. So like teen girls want to wear Aritzia because all their friends wear Aritzia. People want to wear Brandy Melville because it is like a hot brand within a certain group, right? So if we look at all of those, they are not size inclusive. But then you got like Old Navy, American Apparel, not American Apparel, what's the other one? American Eagle Outfitters.
Sure.
That are more size inclusive. Reitmans, like more size inclusive, but like young adults don't want to shop there.
Right, if they're shopping for the brand specifically.
Yeah,
right.
So it's all of these sort of like status brands that are refusing to get on board with clothing the larger people of their demographic.
Right.
Like you can still be 16 and wear a size 16 because like it's been done. So like why don't you want fat money? Like
there, yeah, if there's a demographic out there, right, that people would buy it if they made it.
The most embarrassing thing I've ever seen is like a Torontonian. When I, like you walk through Toronto and you see something and you're like, I have to move. I was walking down Queen Street West, like just like east of here. And there were 2 stores that had lineups, like out the door, like or halfway down the block. And it was Brandy fucking Melville and Chick fucking Filet. And I was like,
I hate Chick-fil-A.
I need to move.
That's hilarious.
If these are the stores that are getting lined up down the block on whatever, it was like Black Friday or something, I was like, I need to go home.
Yeah.
This is my 13th reason.
Yeah.
I will be in the bath with a shotgun.
I never understood the hype towards Brandy Melville. But then again, like I went down to Miami and I went into one because my mom wanted to go into one, and everything was beige or navy, and I didn't understand. And I was like, I used to like them before, back in like 2015. I find now it's like everything's the same, and it doesn't necessarily. It's just I don't understand the hype. There's no hype for Brandy Melville where I am. None. If you say Brandy Melville, they probably wouldn't even know you're.
They probably think you're talking about a person.
Yeah, they're like, who? Like, you know what I mean?
Go to school with her.
So I think it just, right? I think it's just like the disconnect of like, because you're in the city, you see more of that. Whereas like, because I'm not, like, I don't see that as much.
I've never been in one because I already knew, like, just from like online ads that it was not for me. So I've never been in, but from what they put in the window, I'm like, oh. It's the girls who get pregnant as teenagers store.
It's the beige. Have you seen like the parents that do like the beige toys for their kids? And there's like the sad, bland toys. It's like moms that get, that stuff. It's like that's what they do.
Pinterest moms.
Yeah, Pinterest moms.
Well, there's 2 kinds of Pinterest mom. There's like the beige Pinterest mom. And then there's the like, I make every meal an event for my children Pinterest mom.
Yeah, it's not the second one.
Both of which I think that's a whole other topic.
That's fair.
That's a whole other topic.
That's fair. Yeah.
Do you think brands that only cater to one size, like Brandy Melville, are fat phobic?
Not necessarily. I don't think so.
I'm going to go with a yay on this one because a lot of these brands are considered status brands, especially with like young women, and they're just being completely erased from the demographic. What do you think about brands that are often out of stock in sizes XL and over? I.e. like Aritzia or Zara?
I think just probably, and again, I could be wrong. I accept that I could be wrong. I probably just need to do more reading about this, but I think that they just probably don't get demands for that as often as they do for other sizes. But again, I could be wrong, right? But I feel like that just might not be the demographic that goes into their stores, and they just might not sell it as much.
If they're sold out, though.
Oh,
Yeah. So if they're always sold out of the XLs.
Sorry. So I thought I meant just like don't stock it.
No. Anything like XL and over, always sold out. Like I remember back in, oh God, like I'm so stinking old. I remember like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, going into like an H&M, and I'm a sale rack queen. My clothes get destroyed at work.
Yeah.
So like I don't want to spend full price on anything, and I would hit the sale rack. And there was one time I tweeted it. I could go back into my Twitter and find it. There were 43 XS, XSS, and S. 43 of the exact same garment on the sale rack. And I'm like, maybe order 20 less extra smalls and order, maybe 10 more larges and 10 more extra larges.
Sure.
It's like, obviously those sizes are selling.
Yeah, and that makes sense, right? This is probably an issue of the amount that they order into the stores. Yeah, like you said, if they're selling out, not just that they don't carry it in their stores, then yeah, it's just probably just more popular, and it's just an issue with getting restocked. I don't know.
The other thing that drives me absolutely crazy is when a store does carry plus sizes, but you can't try it on in store.
What do you mean?
For instance, American Eagle Outfitters. Is that the one I just said? Yeah, American Eagle. They carry my size jeans online only.
Interesting.
So it's like, oh, you want my money, but you don't want my fat ass in your store.
Right.
And they used to.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic happened, and they used the dip in sales to say, well, obviously we're not selling enough, so we're just going to put them to online only.
Right.
So
you think that they did that maliciously?
Oh, it definitely feels like that, because they were getting accolades in the media because they were suddenly carrying up to a size 24 in store. And then within 6 months of them bringing them in store, the pandemic hit, everything was shut down. And so obviously in-store shopping took a hit. And they were like, oh, look, our curvy line isn't doing very well, so we're just going to relegate it to online only.
Right.
And it goes back to what we were saying about how things fit due to fat distribution in your body. So something that fits me at a size 22 may not fit someone else who's a very different body shape at a size 22. So it's they've made it so that it's just an even bigger inconvenience for us to shop their brand.
Interesting. I never really thought that it was a malicious thing. I just know that the economy is really bad right now. So it makes sense.
Why did they not get rid of smaller sizes?
And they're just more popular.
Well,
because American Eagle, like you said, it was just released that the sizes are larger. And, I know a lot of, larger people that don't necessarily shop at American Eagle, maybe because they don't know that they have the larger size. But it's possible that the sizes that they used to carry for a long time, whether they're small, whether they're the largest size they had, whatever, was, more popular than the newer ones. So maybe that's just why.
It's just, for myself, it goes back to the Victoria's Secret thing. They tried half-assed for 6 months to be size inclusive and went, oh, it's not working, relegated back to the dark corner of the web. It very much feels like lip service. We tried it, it didn't work.
Interesting. That's an interesting point of view on it.
Especially when you look at statistics, and all of our statistics, unfortunately, with Canada are very much tied to American statistics. So it's hard to weed out which ones are Canadian specific. But it's over 60% of the female population are plus size. Over 60%. If you were only catering to 40% of the population, less than 40% of the population, if that was an exam, you would fail. So why are the majority of the population being treated differently than the minority of the population?
Fair. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to money. When I make stuff, when I make clothing, when I make belts, whatever, I make an entire size range because I want every dollar. Not just the skinny ones or not just the fat ones. I want all of them. I don't discriminate against dollars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. For me, it's just I guess I get it. I'm one person making one line of things. So I'm making 24 items, not 24 million items.
Right.
But I'm going to make, every size that I can think of. And I've even gotten to the point at like art fairs when I've been vending where I'm like, you know, making stuff on site because someone has come in and I was like, I did not think to make one small enough, or I did not think to make one large enough. And I'm like, I can make you one right now. Like, give me an hour and come back and I'll have this ready for you. Just don't touch it for 2 days because the dye is still wet.
You gotta let it simmer for a second.
You gotta let it simmer for a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always been wild to me that stores would be like, no, like you're too short to shop here. Like,
Yeah.
just make shorter inseams. Like that's what? I guess someone who makes clothes. Why is it difficult?
Yeah. If you're looking at it in the view of like, you know, you're missing out on making money in this sense, then yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, like it just sounds like bad business. And it's like, and again, it goes back to these like status brands. It's like they don't want to see people who are not their like in their little box customer coming into the store. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. He was at the time the like CFO of Abercrombie, and he went again on national television, went on like this like diatribe about how the target customer of Abercrombie and Fitch wouldn't hang out with like the fat kid because they weren't cool. And I'm like said it like out loud, and I'm like, sir, what? You look like you were not the cool kid in school.
Yeah, like you're taking this a little weird.
I feel like this is a lot of projection. Like this is a lot of you writing some slights from like high school.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe you were bullied and this is your way of like getting in with the cool kids.
Yeah.
And like turning around and bullying someone else. Because yeah, it was, I'm going to see if I can find the YouTube clip because I feel like it happened so long ago that you were like a toddler.
I think that's probably why I have a different perception of all this stuff too. Well, also because I don't pay attention to this shit and I don't necessarily care about it. So that's why, you know, in my eyes, it's difficult to have an opinion on something that you don't necessarily think about very often.
Yeah.
I just go and I buy from wherever and then I go home and wear. You know, I don't think about the status brands. I don't think about what size they carry, even though like that probably sounds, you know, ignorant or whatever to a degree, but it's just, that's not necessarily something that
I feel like the difference is like you like by the time I was your age, I was already sized out of most stores.
Right.
Like I couldn't, like I was working in retail and couldn't wear the clothes there, and I wasn't that big. Like I hate that fucking phrase. I was a size 14.
Yeah, I was the same thing. I was a size 14 too. And going shopping was frustrating, but I never took it out on the company itself for not carrying larger sizes, nor did I take it out on myself. It's just like, oh, I just can't shop here. You know, I can find this pair of jeans in 20,000 other stores. Let me just go buy it somewhere else. But I understand like where it gives a good point of view where you say like, you know, the status brand, and I've never thought of it that way because I've never cared about brands.
I myself am like, I also don't care about brands, but I have a young cousin who's a little bit younger than you are. I think she's like 18 now, and she's a little beanpole kid. She takes after her mom's side of the family. She's clearly she's not one of us in that way. And from like a super small town, like the town that I grew up in is 3,000 people, and when she was here visiting, she wanted to do all of her school shopping. Fair, I get it. You're in a big city, you've got way more options. And all she wanted was to go to like the like status brand stores. Right. Because she didn't even care what she bought. She wanted the bag. Because that's how children's minds work, right? Like I'm not saying
that's weird.
But it's because she wanted to go home and show her friends what she bought from Aritzia, what she bought from Brandy Melville, what she bought from like Forever 21. The stores that like they hear about in the media, they see commercials for, or they, you know, and they see on TikTok that they don't have access to, so they become these like exalted brands. So imagine if my cousin, who at 14 was a little chubbier, and I took her to these stores, like how crushing would that be for a young kid's like self-esteem and like their mental health. Right, like you grew up in a family that's super body positive. I did not. My mom, I'm 43 years old, almost 44. My mom, the last time I saw her in August, was like, so are you gonna drop a few pounds? And I was like, oh well, I don't want to get my stomach cut open, so probably not. Like, you know, like It's very different. Like, you didn't grow up putting a value on yourself or having a value put on you based on the size of your body. Right? So like with her, it's like all she, like my grandmother's like, oh, she's so skinny, she's so thin, she's so slender.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I was too when I was, on the 2-finger diet.
Fair. But also, like, that's just kind of before you're a woman, you're always very small,
Yeah, I mean, well, she's still, like, she's 18, and she's still...
Oh, but that's still young.
Yeah.
Right? Like, anything under 25 at that point. Me at 18, I definitely was a different size than I was now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's true. I just don't necessarily, I think, have a good exposure to having an opinion on this because I never cared about brands. Never cared about, that shit. If it was comfortable and I wanted to wear it, I wore it. So it's difficult for me to put myself in the shoes of people that do care so heavily about what brands they go to. Because Aritzia has bodysuits, but Old Navy does too. And no one can tell the difference. And I guess the only difference is, like, you get the bag from Aritzia, and that is insanity to me. That's insanity that someone would care so much about something.
I mean, when I was her age, I didn't. But I'd also at that point moved away from said shit town. And, like, was like, I can just go and buy whatever I want whenever I want. But for some people...
Is it a status thing?
Yeah, that's not even true. Because I was living in, like, a slightly larger shit town.
Right.
And we got a mall when I was in like the 6th or 7th grade. And it was anchored by like a Walmart and a grocery store. And then there was like a smattering of shit stores in between. And everyone who was anyone bought their clothes from bootlegger. And then like that was it. Like if you were going to be anyone, your clothes had to come from bootlegger.
Right.
Because it's a small town and that's what we had.
Yeah.
And like now I'm just like, and I never like, all the clothes were very preppy. Like, it was the 90s, so everything was very, like, buttoned up. And I was like, like, I don't want to shop here.
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry. Sorry, bootlegger.
Sorry, bootlegger.
I didn't want it, but it was the only store. So, like, I thrifted. I, would buy shit at Walmart and style it myself.
I think that's why also I have a different perspective of this is because I was raised in a thrift store and we never had enough money to go. I mean, I was in subsidized housing. My mom was a single mom. We barely made it by. My mom would bring me to work with her, sometimes if the daycare got too expensive. So I grew up not caring about brands because we got absolutely everything secondhand. And when you buy secondhand, now it's more about brands, which is fucking weird. But back then, like you go to the size that fits you, you find what fits you, you bring it home. Like
my fucking favorite thing was all of my mom's friends. Because my mom was always struggled with her weight. She was always kind of on the bigger side. And so her friends, a lot of them were quite slender, would send over like garbage bags of clothing for me. Yeah. And so I was like 7 years old, like in like a suit. And I was like, man, I look good. And like strangely, like I would wear a lot of like, like adult clothing, we'll call it. Right. Or mature clothing. And kids my age like didn't know how to deal with it. And so they would get called like weird names. I remember this one outfit that I had that it would actually be very like on trend now. And it was like harem pants.
Oh, I love harem pants.
And I think it was like a cropped t-shirt, very similar to this. And they were like animal print. Yeah. And I just remember thinking, and like they were like made out of like rayon, like a silk rayon. They were very nice. And I was like, man, I feel good. Yeah. And I remember, and I feel like there was like a racist connotation in here, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Right. But all the kids started calling me Aunt Jemima. And I'm like, well, I'm clearly not like.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not the demographic for that comment.
Yeah, so I feel like they were like only like a certain like type of like a certain race of woman would wear this outfit. Right. And I was always like, I feel like this tells more about you than it does about me. But I was very young.
Interesting.
And I couldn't.
Aunt Jemima doesn't even wear harem pants.
Right? She wears like a dress.
Yeah, a dress and like her hair isn't a thingy. Like she don't wear. She wasn't MC Hammer. Like I don't understand.
And MC Hammer was like blowing up the charts when I had these pants.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was always like, there's something I don't know about that, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
There was always something I was like, I feel like this is like I feel like there's something racist about this insult,
Interesting.
and I can't.
That's a weird one.
Yeah,
That's a
I was
really
like,
weird one.
that's real strange.
Huh,
Like,
that's
why
strange.
Aunt Jemima?
Yeah.
Like, why wasn't I just like, you look like the maid?
Yeah.
Or, you know.
But even like animal print, like I feel like I don't know. You could come up
Peggy
with
Bundy, anyone?
you
Like,
could come up with a way more creative comment than Aunt Jemima.
yeah. I mean, I was 11, so I'm not gonna like.
Yeah.
But it always like sat wrong with me. I was like, call me whatever you want, but this feels like you're making fun of me and you're comparing it to something else to make fun of me, and like it just felt
targeted
wrong.
at too many people.
Yeah, this is a very
very odd comment, isn't it? Yeah. I don't know. Also, like, not in regards to the Aunt Jemima comment that you just made, but I think I came to a realization while having this conversation with you, because I mentioned what the topic we're going to talk about tonight to one of my coworkers, and she was like, "Oh, like about like what brands are fat phobic and the Aritzia thing and all of that," and she was like, "Oh my God, that's so true. It's insane, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, like, am I weird for not feeling necessarily that outburst about it?" But then I remember I have a very black and white autistic brain about things.
right.
And I don't necessarily take in what other people take in.
I learned so much from you, like every week.
Yeah. I learned things about myself too, because I feel bad. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, I have these opinions that are so contrary to yours, but I understand and I empathize with the opinions that you have. But I'm sitting here, I'm like, like, what's wrong with me? Like, why do I not have the same outburst as you do? But it's for a couple reasons, and one of them is that this doesn't affect me. It's not about trains, and it's not about squishmallows.
And it's not about the Roman Empire.
Yeah, it's not about the Roman Empire. Like, I can't, you know what I mean? So, like, to me, like, I don't, and I want to say this, I don't devaluate how intense and important this is for people. And I want this to be set, because I don't want my opinion to be like,
Of
oh, like,
course.
they just don't care.
Right.
Because I do. But it just doesn't, up until literally us talking about it, I didn't realize how intense this was.
Yeah.
You know, I go shopping, I disassociate, I grab whatever, and then I go home. You know, I was raised in a different way. I don't see things this way. I have a connection with my body that some people don't. And then when I have conversations with people about this stuff, and then they have a different opinion, I'm like, oh, you know, it's very eye-opening.
So, okay, like if I took you, we've spoken about the Eaton Center. So if I took you to the Eaton Center, you and I can only shop from like 4 stores.
Right.
Out of like 175.
See, and that's interesting, because I feel like I find things in more stores than that. But maybe it's just because I take a long time to look. Maybe, you know, I'm just
talking on like on paper sizes. Not talking about like, oh, well, this extra large runs larger than like that extra
right,
large.
and I think that's why I don't see it that way.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of places.
And also, like, you and I, we kind of dress a little trashy. So, like, we're okay if we're, like, shoehorned into it. Like, Deuce, Grease, and the Crowbar and a prayer.
Fair.
Like, oh, is, like, barely my nipples covered? Perfect.
That's fine. The half of it is covered, and that's all that matters.
Concealer will cover the rest.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair. Yeah.
So, like, you and I,
yeah,
as people, as our individual selves, we may find more luck. But someone who is just our size, looking and just going in and looking at the prices,
yeah, that too, but
just the sizes on the tags, who maybe isn't comfortable enough to like try shit on, they're gonna be like, I can't shop here.
Right.
But yeah, like on paper, for the sizes that we wear, there are like 4 stores.
But like sizing is so different for every thing. That's why when you go thrifting now, you can't go for what size. You have to go a size under and a size over what you usually wear, because
I'm coming
so many things
to visit you, and you're taking me thrifting.
Yeah, I have a really great. There are a bunch of really great thrift stores near me. And there's
In
a lot of
Toronto,
options.
the thrift stores do not.
I like the Valley Village Boutique is pretty good.
Have you been to the one on Queen Street?
The 2-floor one, yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
I've found buckets and buckets of stuff there.
how are you feeling?
Yeah, they're good. But then again, like, you know, I don't know. I don't necessarily have a hard time finding my size, but I think, again, it's just what I'm looking for, and I don't wear jeans, and I don't, you know, like, so that's just me.
I get it. And like, again, you and I were okay with a little
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think like the crop sweater that I showed up wearing is an extra large. But for some people that would be a small extra large. But like I wear it anyways because it fits me the way that I want it to fit me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if someone was looking for an extra large that's more true to its size, then it would be, not ideal, I guess.
Yeah.
Right? So, yeah. Yeah.
And you're into name.
Always.
Yay or nay?
Okay, yay or nay top brands. Is this a good brand for plus sized clothing?
All right.
Zara.
I'm gonna say that's a nay.
I'm never in there, so I don't know.
I haven't been in a really long time, but like I said, 20 years ago they told me they only carried up to a size 8.
Fair.
I believe them.
They may have went up like one or two sizes, but other than that, I don't think so. Aritzia.
Also gonna go with a nay.
What do we classify as plus size clothing?
On paper, anything over a size 12.
And what does that classify as large, extra large? Like, what does that mean?
An XL.
Well, they do have double XL and XL there.
But like 12 is sort of that threshold. So if you're a 12, you kind of straddle the line. You're what would be referred to as mid-size. So to be plus size would be 14.
Well, but then that's backwards because then I'd be considered mid-size. Because I wear an XL in Aritzia.
Can like you go in anything in an XL at Aritzia and put it on?
Yeah.
Like jeans.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they may have like changed their sizing because like I've only been in there. I say I was never in there. I was in there once with my little cousin.
Yeah,
she was 11 years old and was wearing a medium.
Yeah, I wear their leggings. I wear their tops.
That's all stretchy stuff though. Like anything structured with no stretch, would you still fit it?
Well, I don't wear jeans, so.
Yeah, because like, that's the key is like if it's structured with no stretch.
Right.
Because like I can shoehorn myself into like a medium if I need to. That goose grease. I'm good.
I don't wear anything that doesn't have stretch. So maybe if it wasn't stretchy, then I wouldn't fit it. But I wear like large, extra large from them.
Yeah. I mean, I'm willing. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go tomorrow.
Yeah, check it out. Because in the Oshawa one too, like all of my bodysuits from Aritzia are all extra large, and I could have probably even gone a size smaller.
Yeah, because like I know like myself, Old Navy. I size down at Old Navy.
Yeah.
So I'm like an XL as opposed to anywhere else. I'm a 2XL. So yeah, it could be. It could be.
Yeah, I'm only a 3XL on this stuff because I feel like it's sized really small and weirdly. But anyways, H&M.
That's a yay for me.
Yeah, I'm never in there, but they look pretty good.
I buy a lot of my stuff from H&M. I'm never like I'm sorry, I should say I'm shocked every time I go in. I find something and it's in my size, and I also find it's actually cut. So, because I make clothes, and I have learned how to draft and things like that. There are when you are drafting a straight size versus a plus size. Straight size is drafted like a rectangle, so it is narrow and long. Plus size is drafted like a square. So a lot of times what happens is you get junior plus, which is just a slightly larger rectangle. So it's still long and narrow. I find H&M and Old Navy, they draft their stuff for their plus sizes on that square. So if you're someone who's built like I am, which is a little more hourglassy than say Apple, you can usually size down. So just there you go. Little tips and tricks.
Okay. For the viewers, I knew that though, but for the viewers. Skims.
I'm gonna say they're probably a yay.
I love Skims.
I've never tried their stuff, but I know their good American jeans go up to a pretty decent size. So I'm assuming they would continue that throughout their other brands.
And they're shaped more for curvy women too, which is nice.
Well, they gotta accommodate the BBL.
Yeah. Oh,
right.
Natural or not natural, you know?
Shein is 100%. A lot of these online drop shipping brands have built their businesses around catering to, I shouldn't say catering to, but including plus sizes.
Catering to any size, really, right? I mean, they're around, they boosted during quarantine. And I feel like across the board, whatever size you were, you gained a couple sizes then. So they definitely, took it upon them to carry every size.
100%.
Which is nice. Fashion Nova.
Oh, they are a super yay.
Yeah.
Again, I feel like this is another one of those brands that like really kind of built their popularity or notoriety on a curvier body.
Yep, because they were one of the first ones that came out with like curvy jeans, essentially.
Yeah.
I might say one of the first because they weren't the first, but they were more popular for coming out with pants that had that shape that went in at the top instead of going out and then just going straight up to the heavens for some reason.
That's like my nightmare.
Yeah.
ASOS.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, I fucking love ASOS. I can't afford it.
ASOS?
ASOS. It's a British company. And they have always been pretty size inclusive. I bought some like beautiful, like when I worked, like, I wouldn't say like an office job, but a job where I had to like look a little more put together than, you know, a barber jacket and jeans. I bought all my shit from ASOS, and like they have been killing the size inclusivity game for 10 years.
That's right.
If not more.
You're right. Uniqlo!
I'm going to say an A on that one.
It's in between.
The only thing I've ever looked at on their website is their thermal gear.
Yeah.
And it, according to their size chart, and like I am a seamstress, I'm an ISO, so I know what my measurements are. According to the size chart, I am about 8 sizes too large to wear their extra large.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So I don't even bother going in, and that's just for their like heat tech stuff or thermal tech. And from other people that I know who are curvy bodied, they say that their larger sizes are not, that they're cut very small on the small side. So I'm gonna say they're an A.
Okay. Let's test that.
If you want like an oversized sweater, you know, you can be an oversized. That's the thing that fucking kills me.
What?
You can make an oversized. So like you'll say like this is an oversized medium. That is an extra large.
I know. I will buy a 2XL sweater with no shame and call it an oversized. However, the one thing that I will argue is that sometimes a 2XL is different from an oversized style, and you'll probably already know this, but from the cut of the actual outfit.
Yeah,
because some
they make the
oversized
sweaters narrower.
Yeah, or they'll make the arm larger and then it's still the regular size all throughout the rest of it.
No,
right?
100%.
So it depends on what they mean by oversized, because that I understand. But yeah,
there's been a couple of times I've got into like what is it called, Urban Planet.
Oh, I love Urban Planet.
And I will go and like buy their oversized sweaters. And so like their oversized like XL sweater. Yeah. It's just a 3XL. Like, yeah. But they refuse to put that tag on it. Right. It's like you could just market this as a regular sweater with a 3XL on it. Yeah. But no, that one he wants to hear from me.
But then they'd have to make all the other sizes for it too. Right? Yeah. They have to do the 2XL, the XL, the X.
Which, well, if their oversized XL sweater is a 3XL, then that would, logic would you know, determine that their oversized large sweater would be a 2XL, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. But that's what I mean, is that like if you start like,
they would just have to make new tags.
They would also have to make more, right? Because if they already start at that larger size, they'd have to add like 2 or 3 or 4 sizes, right? Yeah. To make up for the other ones that they don't have.
All I'm saying is that when the oversized trend ends, don't get rid of those patterns. Just get new tags.
Yeah. Just keep making them.
Just get new tags and extend your sizing. It's fine.
Oh,
it's fine.
That's funny.
And in the interim, while you're selling all of that stuff and making money off of fat bodies, you can take that and, you know, put a little bit of that into drafting more products.
Amen.
Let's just do all business. All business tip.
All business tip.
All business tip.
Business tips from Elle.
Because I'm a successful entrepreneur.
I like that. Yeah. With your mutual funds.
I have a jar.
TFSA.
I do have one of those.
Yeah.
Is she beefy?
She's beefy. I need a butt.
That's it for us. This is another episode of the Naughty Podcast in the can. I am your host, Elle Harlow. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Elle Harlow.
I'm Tiana Sage. You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram at Tiana Sage.
Don't forget to follow the Naughty Podcast on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram at the Naughty Podcast. Today we covered some pretty divisive information about fat phobia in retail.
Yeah.